There she is. Thank you, American lady. So now you know we're live-ish. And so it's time to say, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to this edition of the Halcyon Show. It's been a minute. Sorry about that. My name's Lorne Riseley, host of the show. But pray silence, please, because today we give thanks to a battler for over 3 years been repping, bars are spitting, lines overstepping, for blowing saxophones and impressing, for the rhyming lessons, for the lyrics like heaven, a rising light, a future champion's presence. We give thanks because he's Caveman, and I love him. And he's here! Caveman, my friend.
Boy! Yo, you need to start battling, Lorne. Man, I see the rhyme schemes, I see the rhythmic patterns. Come on.
It's very easy when I'm clearly plagiarizing someone else's work to a pretty significant degree. I want to start there if it's okay, because fate's a weird thing. Processing some things at the moment, feeling up and down, all the rest of it, and then you obviously agreed to talk, and I do my little research bit, Google, foo, and all the rest of that sort of stuff, and I come across a song of yours called No Again, and I listen to this song, and I go, that might be the most uplifting thing I've heard in a really long time that I really didn't anticipate coming, and I just had to ask, like, maybe using that as a basis or a jump-off point, I wanted to ask about your music, because I only really have one word that I keep coming back to with you, and that's funky. It's more than one word, but funky as fuck. I find myself just sort of vibing along to whatever you're producing, man. I want to ask about your music. Like, talk to me about your journey with it. Talk to me about your influences. Talk to me about your mindset with it. I just want to hear everything that you have to say about music, because again, that song in particular put me on a path of listening to the rest of your stuff, but I keep coming back to that one because it's just, I don't really know how to describe it other than I really fucking loved it. Like, really.
We cut out for half a second there. You said you described my music in one word, and then it cut out right when you said what the word was.
Funky as fuck.
Funky as fuck. Yeah, I heard the first time. So that song in particular, bro, 2023 was a really dark year for me. Like, I was still battling and coming out here and insulting people, but I was personally going through some really, really nasty shit that, you know, I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy to have to deal with what I was dealing with that year. And then I made that song towards the end of that year, and that was a response to the feeling of coming out of a really dark place, a really, really dark place. And, you know, I speak about it in that song, No Again, I produced. It's about, you know, I felt like I was lost, but now I know again. I felt like I forgot, but now I know again. I thought that I was lost, but now I'm home again. And so it's about getting back to myself, that song. For me, music has always been it's just the most beautiful thing in the world. I think often about the fact, just simply, all that music is two things knocking against each other, and they reverberate in a way that somehow, in some way, is pleasant and pleasing to human beings. And the fact that that exists, it's my favorite thing in the universe. You know, just the simple fact you can make a sound and it can make you feel a way and make someone else feel a way. I love it, man. And I've always been, since a child, just in love with music, and found identities for music from young, man. From Barry White was one of my first, most favorite artists, and then older is Tupac, and then it's Big L, and then it's everyone who's around me who's making music. It's the love of my life, man. Aside from my family, music is the love of my life, and it means the world to me to be able to create music. And anytime someone listens to my music and connects with it and listens to it and enjoys it, that's amazing, and I love that. But if no one ever liked anything that I would have made, I would still have liked it, and it still would have made me be able to go home and go to sleep that night and feel comfortable and be okay with the bullshit that I had to deal with that week. So that's how I feel about music. I think it's the most purest, most beautiful thing that I've ever experienced.
There's no danger of no one not liking it, because again, like I said, man, you sent me on a fucking rabbit hole with, it was funny actually, just a little bit BT dubs. Your link tree, I sent you it to sort of say, no, I'm bound, and you went, I really should update that, there's more stuff, and it's like, oh great, more stuff to dive into. And the thing I kept coming back to, right, is levity with you. Like, I can't even describe how you do it, because it's not, and I don't mean this as a dig, it's not an overabundance of enthusiasm or energy or buzzwords or poppy or bright colors, but there's something levitous about you in the way you perform, in your music. There's something that's just kind of generally uplifting about you. I want to ask, is that intentional? Is that something that you're cognizant of? Or is that something that's just sort of a byproduct of how you've kind of devised your persona? Because I would say that there's something about you, and I called it when I reviewed one of your battles. I'm like, there's something about this guy. I can't quite place it, but he's got a quality. He's got a charisma. He's got something about him, but I can't tell you what it is. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, man. So I guess it's something we all have, right? We all have our own different strengths and weaknesses in life. But something I've believed for many years is that life is fleeting and it's painful. You know, your grandma dies, your friend goes to jail for some shit you didn't even know they were involved in, you lose with your job. You know, life is a painful experience, and I think something I have naturally is when things are sad, I just make jokes out of them. And over the years, so to speak to your question, like, I think it's something that I have instinctually, this is my response to pain and trauma. But I think since recognizing that in myself, I try and lead into it way more, because I've realized that, like, through all the pain that we go through, if through my ability to rhyme words together and give my little opinion and my perspective on life, I make people feel happier, even for 5 minutes. Like, I want to do that. I think that's amazing. That's a blessing, you could say, that I have, and I don't want to look the gift horse in the mouth. So yeah, the levity, I totally I do lean into, and it is something that I try and pursue, because I feel that what I can do as an artist is to make people feel just a little bit better about their human experience. Even if for the 2.5 minutes they listen to my song, I can make someone feel good. Like, that's a beautiful thing that I'm able to do, and I'm happy always to do that, you know.
I think that can be evidence no more than, and battle rap fans of the world, I shall blue ball you no more. We're going to segue slightly into it, but not quite, because many people make inroads into battle rap by being sick lyrically, or by spitting heavy things, or rapping about dead people. You chose a slightly different tact. You decided to blow the roof off a room and set what might be the most memeable, capturable moment in the battle rap year, and we're only in the first third of 2025, by whipping out a saxophone. And not only did you fucking stick the landing on it, it was one of those moments that it felt, okay, battle rap can sometimes be guilty of trying to force something. I feel like sometimes it can be guilty of trying to make a moment bigger than it is, or no, this is the most legendary thing, and everyone kind of looks around and goes, no, it isn't. That felt earned, man. Like, it felt genuine, and it felt like everyone was just completely sold on this notion of, this is great, this is fun, this is so cool, this is the best, everyone loving it, everyone smiling, everyone almost high-fiving that they were so... It was one of those rare moments that I saw everyone go, I wish I was there for that. I'm really annoyed I wasn't in the fucking room for that. Talk to me about that. Talk to me about, not necessarily the battle itself, because we'll get into that, but like the thought process, because that sounds like it's reminiscent to what you were just talking about. You were thinking of a way to raise the room, to inject a little something that was uniquely you, but still resonated with people in a way that would bring them up. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so obviously that battle got set up because of man like Kingsley Thunder. Big up to Kingsley Thunder. He was leaving Liverpool and he wanted to do, well, leaving the UK, and he wanted to do an event before he left. So he lined that up, and initially we were going to do that on beat. So I had all these different flows. Obviously, I know you've not battled, but once you get booked to a battle, you start thinking of all these ideas. I'm going to do this. So I started thinking about all the stuff I could say to Celesta, and then somehow we ended up doing it a cappella. So a lot of this stuff doesn't work a cappella. The bars and lyrical formats that I've put together, none of which is actually what I used, but I was in that head state. The saxophone thing, I've always for years, no, not for years, for about a year, I just thought it'd be so cool one day if I did a battle and I just played a guitar solo. If I could just turn around like Slash and just play a guitar solo, like, you know, but I can't play the guitar. And then, so that idea gesticulated with me for ages, and then suddenly I was like, oh wait, I can play the saxophone, I know how to do this. So where I was on the day, I was the only person there, had this idea. I've left the building, locked the door, walked all the way to where my saxophone was, gone, got the saxophone, and I said, yo, if I can do this, then I have to do this. And then I could do this. So again, it's just, I think it's about my overall ethos. Like, there's certain rappers in battle rap who are amazing punchliners. You think about like Cole J, about man like Frankie Fraser, they're just amazing at writing a 2-bar that just, that's never been the thing that I was drawn to as an artist. I'm always more about like the effect on the audience, like we were talking about earlier. So with that one, I just felt like, if this works the way I want it to work, like, how would you not enjoy this? I would love to see someone do this shit. And so yeah, I went and I did some rehearsals and I worked on it, and then as it worked out, I was the last round of the last battle of the day. Celesta went first, so I went second. So my third round was literally the final bars anyone heard on the day. And people just, you know, you've been to battle rap events, like, as great as people are, after like 4 or 5 battles, it's like, okay, it's more of the same great stuff. It's still great, but it's more of the same, right? And I was like, okay, I can do something that's totally different. Like, literally no one has ever seen this in a battle anywhere in the world. Why would you not enjoy this when I do it? You know what I mean? So I gave it a go, and it could have flopped, but it didn't, I don't think. So yeah, that was how I came to that conclusion to do that battle. I just thought, yo, you gotta take these risks sometimes, and if it doesn't work, then you take it on the chin, and if it does work, you take it on the chest, innit?
I had to ask because, dude, I was one of the guys that was like, I didn't make it to the event, and then I saw the things, and you go, yeah, I'm sure. There's just people on Twitter just trying to make it sound. And it dropped the other day, so I thought, okay, cheeky, chuck it on, all the rest of it, and you know, so you're like, you've got it built in your head, like, it can't be that. And dude, I'm being serious now. It was like, you just smile, and then you see you stick the landing on it, and you're like, do you know what, that's really fucking cool. And again, you commented on it as well, done some cool stuff. This is by mile the most I've enjoyed a battle, the most proud I am. And, you know, the obligatory fucking tune in, fucking watch it.
Yeah, got me done.
With anybody in particular, fucking watch it, people. But like, I guess the question I have for you as a result of that then is, when it comes to battle rap then, being able to amalgamate it to music, did it, not into music per se, but you know, hopefully there's at least some crossover in terms of the creative outlet of it. Like you said, the ability to be able to express, bring joy, you know, express ideas that come to you when you've got a good impetus. When did that first cross your mind in terms of, because obviously music is probably, well, you tell me, how long has music been in your life versus when the first notion of you battling 3 years ago first crossed over?
So music's been in my life forever, bro. Literally from primary school. my earliest memories of singing was in assembly and stuff. And then a big memory for me was The Simpsons. I remember The Simpsons would have like Whitney Houston on an episode or Barry White on an episode, and I'd just be like, this is the best thing I've ever heard. Like, what is this thing? So I got more and more into music, and then I became a teenager, and I was a creative kid. Just one of those people. I just creative minded. If a witch put a spell on me tonight that I could never rap again, then I draw pictures and make short films. I'm just a creative minded person, and what was around me at the time was rap and hip hop and grime. So that's what I got pulled into. And then for years and years and years, and funnily enough, I got a good friend called Biggin. He's a beatboxer. And he used to go to this, we both used to go to this place called Contact. It's in Manchester, and it's like a theatre, or it's like a youth centre at the same time. And the artistic director of Contact was this guy called Baba Israel. He was an amazing guy. He was from New York, and he was a rapper, amazing freestyle rapper, beatboxer, and he also played the didgeridoo. And he used to just chip around and rap and play didgeridoo. And so he was like in charge of Contact for a time. So for a period, Contact became a real hub for like rappers and upcoming MCs and stuff in Manchester. So it's actually when I met Visceral for the first time as well. But Biggin went to an open mic there, and if you've ever been to open mics, after everyone's performed, you stand around and have a drink, chat shit, and be like, oh, this song's coming out, I'm doing a gig here next week. And there was a guy who was there, and he was like, oh, I run these battle raps. And we were too young to go to events at the time, but we got onto it, and that was a guy called Chronicle who was running Don't Flop North at the time. So we started watching Don't Flop, and I thought it was okay. I often felt like you guys are all talking about like knocking each other out, but no one's getting hit. I don't quite get it. And even at the time, I felt like a lot of this stuff was very homophobic and racist and misogynistic, and I just didn't really get it at the time. And then I saw O'Shea vs. Bowski, and I was like, this is just hilarious. This is like watching an episode of Family Guy or something, but like, which is also racist, and but that's a different conversation. So I was just sort of sold on it. Thank you, my guy. So from there, I was in, and after a while, I really got to get a sense of it. And then I always thought that battle rap, like I said earlier, I've never been a punchline rapper like that. So I always thought, like, as much as I like battle rap and it influences me somewhat, I'm over here doing my own thing as an MC and everything else. And then there was one particular day, I was cycling through Withenshaw, and I was like, yo, I was in a crew at the time, and I was like, yo, if someone sent for us, who would send back? And I thought through everyone in the crew, and I was like, it kind of have to be me. I'd have to be the one to do that. If we were going to battle, that'd be me out of our lot who do that. And then I thought nothing more of it. And then about an hour and a half later, I've gone on Twitter and I've seen a tweet from Premier Battles, and Premier Battles have said, yo, we need an MC, 2 MCs in Manchester next weekend to do a battle. 60 seconds, 3 60-second rounds. And I was like, well, I guess the universe has guided me here then, innit? So I just shouted them and I said, we'll do this. And I'd met Briggsy before and stuff, so he knew me a little bit. And then, yeah, next thing you know, I was battling TKE. And then next thing you know, I'm here talking to you. Yeah.
I have to rewind it for a second. Before I did promise the Battle Rap fans I wouldn't blow a bomb. I'm gonna a little. When you were sort of coming into your consciousness with music and stuff, and I'll throw myself in this by saying I found an affinity with music in terms of the creative outlet it posed, the kind of the veneer and the stardom of it. It all just looked so exciting. And then it became apparent I had no talent. So I quickly parlayed that into having no talent online, which is, how I ended up here. My question is, like me, did you ever seek to emulate anybody? Was there anyone that you kind of initially tried to model yourself after in order to give yourself a bit of direction? Or did you just always have your ideas and just simply applied them to what you were trying to do?
I'd say I began with just my ideas. I did begin with my ideas, but over the years, there's definitely been loads of people that I drew inspiration from, like Andre 3000, Nas, Big L, and there's a rapper from Manchester called Skittles. If anyone's watching this, I'd say check out Skittles' album. Paul with 100-pound trainers, that was a big influence on my style. Akala at a certain point. And I think everyone begins like that. There's like, you have people you're learning from, and it's like for a year, you might be like 90%. A lot of people like Eminem say, let's say Eminem, for a year, you might be 90% Eminem and 10% you, and then it drops down to like 70% Eminem, 15% 50 Cent, and 15% you. And over the years, you just draw in influences from other people. But I always felt like I had something different from what other people were doing. I never really saw an artist, an MC, and be like, oh, I could do that. I always was like, oh, I could bring some of that into what I do. And same way with battle rap, man. There's plenty of MCs in battle rap who I take a little bit from, but I always put my own spin on what I learned from them.
For those curious, it was the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and the band was going to be called Harm's Way with a Z, so you knew we were serious. True story, by the way. And that, by the way, there's now a band called Harm's Way. I plan on suing you anyway.
You're a visionary.
Do you know what it was? It was because someone had a stupid idea of, you better not get in harm's way. Do you get it? Do you get it? But they spelled it with an S. So I don't know if I can sue them. Different story, different day. My first question as far as battle rap then, because again, we should really crack on with the battle rap stuff, because it's how I became acquainted with you. It's how you've made a lot of people stand up, pay attention. Okay. My question is, as far as battle rap is concerned, how do you go about entering the realm of battle rap from being, again, you're acquainted with rap, MC, lyricism, all the rest of that sort of stuff, but battle rap is a different beast. There's a different mindset that goes into it. There's a competitive element to a certain degree. How does that marry up with how you'd been an artist up until that point, and how does it influence you now in terms of what projects you decide to embark on, spend time on, working on, when battle rap can and has proven to be very time consuming? It can be all encompassing at times. How do you balance that? Because it seems like you still seem to be striking a balance between the two.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I guess for me personally, I guess the difference is like I can write a song in an hour easily. It'll take me 3 weeks to write a rap battle. So I feel like that's the big difference, and I really like the challenge of writing a battle, looking at someone, trying to boil them down to a few certain points. You've got a big nose, you only win when you're there with your friends, whatever it is. You act
I was
tough.
really worried there that you were sizing me up as you were coming up with ideas like, you're ugly, you're stupid, no one likes you. I'm just pulling these out of the air, like, okay.
No such thing, man. So I love the challenge of boiling someone down to a point and then expanding that point into other things and writing about it. But in terms of how I get into battling, it's just a whole different challenge, and I really enjoy taking on different challenges. Like I say, like I'm an MC, I'm a rapper, I have been since I was a child, but I think I'm a creative person all in all, and I like to open myself up to different aspects and and learn as I go along how to do this. So I came into my first battle, I probably wrote my first battle in about 12 hours. I wrote the whole thing in one go, and then over time I would come to more shows and I'd see different people who had different attributes and be like, oh, I can incorporate a bit of that. And so it's still an ongoing process, and I'd say only since about the middle of last year, maybe the start of last year, to be honest, I've found like, okay, this is what my style is. But for the first quite a few battles, I would do stuff different every single battle. Like my first battle was TKE, so that was my first battle. My second one was Gaz time, so I did what did I do? I did a concept round. I spoke about him like basically begging for cigarettes off people. My third one was Danielson. We did on beat. Next one was Riz. We did that out of town. That was my first time out of Manny. Next one after that was Sam Hypes, which was a one rounder. So like Cupo, I was in the mix as well. So for that whole run, I was like, I'm just gonna try different stuff. And again, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So it's been really nice. It's really quite humbling to just throw yourself out there. And I think the battle rap crowd, as much as they're welcoming and accepting, them man are super critical. Like they're watching you like, why should I be watching you? And it's nice to hear why people don't like you or why they do like you and stuff, you know. I think it's really helped me as an artist to really focus in on what I'm writing, and it's affected the way I write music as well. I think I structure, when I write a music verse now, I structure it more like a battle verse. Like it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, which is not something I necessarily did beforehand. So yeah, it's really been, it's a great challenge, man. I really enjoy it. Parts of it.
Let me drill down into something you said there. I'm reading too much into this, but I've always been fascinated with the process of, because I appreciate when people compliment me in the sense of I write halfway decent intros, but I can't imagine the critical process of going through trying to construct something over 4.5 minutes in terms of a battle rap. It just seems like an impossibly complex prospect when, as you've said, battle rap crowds are incredibly critical and they've heard it all before. So how do you impress a crowd that's heard everything that's there to be said? Right, okay. But you've said something there that's kind of interesting to me, that, and creatively I want to see if there's a distinction. You said boil it down. Is it a case then in battle rap comparative to because I can resonate with this. When I have an idea about something creative, it's a spark. It's something that I have to grow. I have to expand it. I have to explore it. I have to then hone it and craft it. In battle rap, you mentioned it's boiling it down. Is it a case that the creative endeavor of battle rap is as much about having a whole host of ideas and whittling them down to the very best ones to kind of distill it into something that's very potent, versus a music project, which is, it can start from a spark, but it can grow with time depending on how much investment you want to put into it? Or am I just... Is there that big a difference, or in your mind at least, do they follow some parallels?
Yeah, there's some parallels for me, but I think there's a thing that they say in like theatre, which is you have to kill your darlings. So I'm going through this now as I'm writing. It's like there might be a section as a battle rapper that you love and it sounds so cool, but it's like, take away the fact that you personally love this section. Does it lead towards what you're trying to do? Does this actually enable you to achieve what you're trying to achieve? And I think battle rap forces you to be very like economical with the way that you use words. And it's like, I might have like 3 bars about how the fact that I'm battling a guy with big ears, and it's like each one of them is funny. They're
Why
all
do I
great.
feel like you keep picking on me with these things you keep plucking out of the air?
Don't watch that, man. So you might have 3 funny bars about a guy having big ears, but it's like, yo, do we need to stop and chat about my man's big ears for all this time? And if we don't, then you need to be okay with cutting it out and throwing it away. And I feel like battle raps really taught me the process of just editing and just being okay with, this bar is good, I know it's good, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not serving my greater purpose. So when I say I try and boil things down, I try and pick a few things that I can attack and not focus too long on any one of those given things, but really hone in so that everything I'm saying about that thing works. And also to look at the structure. So it's like, you might make a point, you've got big ears, then you talk about the big ears, but then what are you leading that into, and where are we going with it? And so just being willing to really, like, when I say boil things down, I mean take that idea and use it. Like, it's fine to say someone has big ears, right? But having big ears isn't necessarily a problem on its own. It's like, how am I using this idea to serve an undercurrent, you know, like a purpose that attacks you? Because if I just notice you have big ears and chat about it for time, then I'm just chatting about it for time. But it's like, if I find something, an angle to attack you, and apply it to something that makes the audience see you differently and takes you apart, then now I'm onto a winner. And it can be very, very difficult, because sometimes you might struggle to find a fundamental problem in someone. And if you don't, then you're kind of screwed a little bit, because you're just doing stuff that sounds cool, which is great until they point something out about you. And now everyone's like, oh yeah, Caveman's bars were good, but, you know, this guy showed me something about Caveman that I'd never noticed, and now I don't really care about Caveman's cool bars, you know?
Do you divorce your own satisfaction with the battle from the audience's? I know that there is this notion, as you kind of pointed out there, that, like, I found this frustrating as a fan, because I want to buy into the competitive element of it. I do. However, I've seen 3 judges judge the battle 3 different ways, in which case it's like, you all scored it, but you all scored. It's like watching a football game on 3 different pitches and the scores combined at the end. It's like, yeah, but one team was playing with 9 men versus 1. This team played on their hands. Okay, I guess my question is, how do you stay sane in a environment where you can put on an amazing, like you've said, you've got very little to work with, but you still put together a responsive audience reaction where they seem to be really resonating, really having a lot of fun. But like you've said, you've kind of hit on an aspect of battle rap, which is the competitive element. The thing you've always got to think, it's not just the audience, it's the people at home, it's the judges watching if it's a judge battle, it's the perception afterwards. It's a highly critical fan base. How do you marry the need to be competitive in that world with your own aspirations as a creator, as an artist, as a musician, as a lyricist? Or do you just divorce them? How do you approach that, I guess, is my question.
That's a good question. I'd say, for me, I've never been able to fully divorce them. I've always, like, because you want to win your battle, right? You always want to win your battle. But I think for me, I tend to look at this, a lot of people talk about battle rap as a sport. To me, it's an art. I think it's an art, personally. I think if I do a battle and 3 judges say I lost, but I personally think my bars were way better than the opponents, then who's anyone to tell me that I lost? And the same way, if I'm just watching a battle, if everyone says this guy won the battle, I watched it the same way that they did, and I think the other guy won, then how can anyone tell me that I'm wrong, in my opinion? So I try to be, I'd say it's like 70-30. 70% when I'm writing my shit, 70-30. 70 is me saying what I want to say and enjoying it, because ultimately, like, I take time out of other stuff to come and do battle rap. I do this off my own back. It's me who has to stand in my kitchen at 2 a.m. rehearsing these bars. It's me who may get called into the office one day and say, yo, we've seen this video of you online, you can't work here anymore. You know what I mean? It's me who actually has to go through this. So as much as I want to win, I would rather enjoy it and lose than not enjoy it and win, because I don't really care. Like I say, I came into battle rap thinking I've got an EP to promote. Let me give this a go. Let me try this. I've battled. Me and Zen just hit 100k. P Soldier's one of my favorite battlers. I've been on flights to Ireland, which is my home country, to go and battle. I've got so much out of battle rap. Like, I can't really focus anything on this person who's come to an event, who deserves their own opinion. I'm not taking away their right to have their own opinion, but I can't base my judgment on this shit based on how someone else reads it. They can have their opinion and we can discuss it, and that's cool, but like, I generally just try and focus on, like, this is my Saturday, this is what I'm doing with my time, you know. Comme c'est, comme ça.
Do you have any battles coming up, say on or around the 12th of April on Saturday at 33 Oldham Street, 12 to 6 o'clock, on or around any cards that may or not be affiliated with Premier Battles and the Undisclosed brand, perhaps? Do you have anything going on then?
Funny enough, Lorne, it's strange you should ask that. Yeah, I'm battling Dazzy Talks, who I first encountered at No Loose Chat when I went to battle MK. Same day I battled MK, he was battling BMF Owls. I'd never seen him, or I don't think heard of him before, but he was really good that day. And you know, I feel like Dazzy's a very talented young man. I think he works hard on his craft, and I feel like if you have more Dazzys in the world, battle rap will be better for it, you know. So I think we both separately wanted to battle each other. I don't know why he wants to battle me, but that's why I wanted to battle him. So yeah, we're battling about 5 minutes walk from where I am right now. We're going to be battling. I've written my 3 rounds. I know 2 of them. I've got a week and a half or so left to learn the other one. Yeah, I'm excited to battle Dazzy.
How do you feel about being on the card?
Very excited.
Sorry, I cut you up there.
I just said very excited. No, not at all.
Oh no, very excited. He's very, very fucking excited, and you should be too. Tickets are still available at premierbattles.club right now. Buy them! Anyway, back to the point. The point I was asking is, I look at the card, right? I look at this as like, we're still not quite there, I think, in the eyes of a lot of the fans. But I look at this card, right, and you look at some of the names on it that have been around now for a couple of years, including yourself. We've got a couple of people that have cultivated very solid, good reputations. And a couple of up-and-comers and Dub T. Then you've got, like, the undercard as well, which, by the way, all love Dub T. I'm your biggest cheerleader, I promise you. But my question, I guess, is how do you view yourself in the scope of battle rap at the moment? Because I know that when it comes to the discourse online, I know that some people get really caught up in this notion of we need some of the old heads back, we need some of the OGs back, we need this, we need that. I tend to take the opinion of, well, just look at people on their own merits now. Look at what they're doing. Look at what they're achieving. Stop paying such close attention to the numbers, because I think that sucks all context out of the conversation of the performances, right? The number of the battle does, right? Talk to me about how you view your, not legacy, that's too much to say, but like your placement in the scene at the moment when you look at where you started. Like, again, looking at the card, there's a lot of talent on here that have done really, really cool things, including yourself. Talk to me about how you view that at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's a really, again, interesting question. I personally, like, you know, the 2 biggest battle rappers we've ever had out of this country are Lunacy and Shotty Horror. They're the 2 biggest. And, you know, Lunacy battled, last year on Don't Flop? Shotty battled the year before.
Plug 3, yeah.
Yeah. Is battle rap where it was? Have we gone back to their man's commercial prime? No, we haven't. I don't think that bringing back the old guys will bring back the old times. And both of those guys had great battles that I really enjoyed, and I have big respect for them both. But I don't think that by bringing back the old guys, you're going to bring back what you used to enjoy. Again, if you just really enjoy watching Shotty or Luna battle, then watch the battle when they come back, and it's great. But I don't think that's going to bring everyone back. I put a post yesterday on Twitter, and I was like, which of the OGs would you want me to see battle? And someone suggested Jay Dillon. Big respect to Jay Dillon, no part. But I was kind of like, yo, like, Jay Dillon isn't an OG. He was just a good battle rapper a few years ago. In a few years, if I never battle again after this conversation, in a few years, I'll be a good battle rapper from a few years ago, right? Like, it doesn't necessarily elevate me or mean that I've done more, you know. So I think right now, in my honest opinion, I think I'm one of the better guys battle rapping right now. I think I do shit no one else does. I think the people who I'd say are like a good few steps to me, Gemini, Cole J, whoever, they're also like 10 years deeper in this than I am. So like, why would they not be ahead of me? But I feel like I think within the like insular community of battle rap fans online, there's a hierarchy. But I think realistically that hierarchy only exists in certain conversations. You know, you go to Pen Game and there might be someone who's never battled, and they just like Passive. A year and a half ago, no one knew who Passive was, and now he's come out. He's got no credentials in battle rap, but he's sick, and it pops off and it blows. So I think sometimes we're a bit within the UKBR a cappella circuit. It's a bit too insular when we talk about the same stuff too much, and we're too focused on this imaginary tier system. And I feel like ultimately, like, if I bring like my cousin or my friend on a Saturday afternoon to walk into a venue in Manchester and they watch a battle, like, then that's just as valid as someone who's watched 150,000 battles online. I don't think it's about. And again, when Luna and Shotty blew up in 2011, 2012, that shit was being watched by just random people who saw a video on YouTube or whatever. Like, so I think it's easy when you get involved and invested to overthink the meta and overthink the culture around it. But ultimately, bro, like, all that really matters is what happens in the room on the day. The fact that we film it and put it online is whatever. Like, people spend the Saturday afternoons together rapping, and I try and really focus on that room. And that's in my mind, that's all that I can do, because it's not up to me how anyone else receives or commentates on this stuff in retrospect.
I could unpack what you've just said for an hour there, because I am in almost in total agreement with you, but we want to keep this on you. Again, I'm the new Lorne. I'm the revised Lorne. I'm the nice, cuddly version of Lorne that doesn't and wouldn't ever say anything controversial, ever. But my question there is, you've kind of touched on a tweet that I actually wanted to elaborate on, because what I'd like to ask battlers is, what are your aspirations within battle rap? Because I find that their answers deviate pretty significantly. Some kind of look at themselves as, I want to carve out a legacy in battle rap. Others look at it as, I want to have a good time and dip. Some people have designs on the championship. Others have specific battles that they want to, you know, they're fans and they just want to see themselves in a situation. How do you chart your course in battle rap in conjunction with your aspirations as an artist? Because those two, again, you uniquely in your case, you seem quite cognizant of staying an artist and a musician, and battle rap being a conjunctive aspect of that rather than it becoming your defining quality. So my question is, how do you see yourself aspiring in battle rap and in the current scope of it, along with your aspirations as an artist?
Yeah, I'll say it's interesting. Like, again, like I say, I spend my life in rooms on Saturday afternoons, right? So there's certain people, like P Soldier, for me was amazing to get to battle P Soldier, because there was times when I was just broke and I was at my yard in Fallowfield and I just had a bit of internet on my phone, so I would watch a Peace Soldier battle while I was cooking, and it made me feel happy. So get to go and battle someone like that is amazing. If anyone wants to book me to go on a flight, that's amazing, man. Like, rapping has taken me to other countries. That what more could you ask for? In terms of, if I ever find myself in a position where Briggsy calls my phone and says, yo, we want you to do the next title match against whoever's the title, I'll say, cool, that sounds great, that sounds fun. But I'm not going to spend the next year of my life taking battles to try and work towards that, because that's just not the way my brain works, I suppose. I want to link up with talented people from other parts of the country and other parts of the world and show off what I can do. And all of this is just a bonus, man. I wanted to do one battle just to see if I could do it. So everything else is just a bonus. So I really, really, really try not to overthink it, and try not to get myself caught up in thinking about what my status is within this hierarchy and stuff. In terms of the old school people I'd like to battle, or the people most of them don't want to battle anymore. I tend to, if I see someone really good, I'm like, I don't want to battle him. Visual Maverick, why would I do that to myself? And if I see someone shit, then I'm like, no, I don't want to battle you either. So it's just about things that I personally think, would this be an enjoyable Saturday afternoon for me and for the people who come to this crowd? I think the more you think about the meta and the narrative and the overall storyline, it works, because, you know, you make a story and you sell it to the people that hear it. But for me, I just think you're just setting up problems for yourself, really. Just try and focus on the moment. These are the people when you battle you. Do you want to battle? Okay, I do. These are the guys who want to battle you. Which one do you think could be the most interesting, you know? And sometimes I try and just battle people who are totally different from the last guy I battled. Like, I battled Coopard, and I battled RX, and I battled Sam Hypes, and I battled iKid, and I battled Tech. Like, it's like, let's just change. Everyone, what's going to bring something different out of me? What's going to make me excited to sit in my room and write lyrics about a stranger, you know?
You heard it here first, folks. He's coming for the title. Gemini needs to be afraid.
Yeah, watch yourself, Gem.
I'm going to segue away from bat rap for just a second. Give me a second, because I'm just curious about something. I do a healthy bit of sleuthing, totally normal, reasonable amount of sleuthing through people's social media accounts and bank statements.
That's journalism, bro.
Trash and home addresses and whatnot. March 25th, great day yesterday in Colwyn Bay, facilitating the music project. Seeing the young artists in the small town in North Wales got me thinking about a tag I can't read off the top of my head. Where we come from, the regional rap scene's rumbling away across the country. I want to talk about your advocacy, because it sounds to me like you spend a good bit of your time, again, kind of everywhere, doing every little thing. Talk to me about some of the other projects that you work on from a musical perspective, but also I have it described here through a reasonably reliable account. Where is it? Community Facilitator, based in Manchester. You seem like a giving person, a person that likes to give of himself, of his time, for aspirational reasons that apply to things other than himself. Talk to me about that, because I again, you'll forgive me, it's rare to talk to someone that actually spends time giving back and trying to, again, elevate people around him. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, man. So like I say, like, I used to go to Contact Theatre we were talking about earlier. But like, I was talking to my boy about this this evening. Like, I grew up in the New Labour, Tony Blair era, when youth projects were being funded left, right and centre, and we got to go and try so many different things. And I grew up going to youth centres and theatre projects and music studios and meeting all kinds of people. At the same time we're in the studio, there's like drag theatre festivals happening downstairs. There's people coming from all over the world to do projects. And so like, I was in and around this like from young. So about 10 years ago, my boy got a residency at an art gallery in Manchester called the Whitworth Art Gallery. And then when he finished that, he tagged me into it. So I was like, all right, cool, I can go get paid more money than I'd ever seen to go and chill in an art gallery and do stuff. Cool. Can you hear that?
I hear a little bit of thing in the background. I'm not sure what it is though.
It's a Hoover.
It's a Hoover. It's a Hoover. It's a Hoover because I'm trying to turn it into. Again, this is why I can't battle. I can't ad lib. I can't freestyle.
It's because you're not trying to suck up to man.
There's a big up in there. Something I don't know. Do you know what?
Yeah, hold that
I'll
Henry,
catch
man.
you with it when you least suspect it in a few minutes after he's finished his story. Anyway, you were saying, sir.
So I went and I got this residency at the gallery, and as part of it, I had to go do some youth work. Part of the funding of it, I had to go do what they call outreach work. So go to other community organizations or represent the gallery there. So I did that, and then I just started seeing these opportunities popping up, go and do work here and there, artists in residence, you know what I mean, associate artists and stuff. And I just started applying for stuff. So for years now, man, it was my job up until COVID when I had my daughter and stuff. For years I was working in youth centers, art galleries. I was going to prisons. I work with like the youth justice service to work with kids who were like on probation and stuff. I got to travel, man. I went to New Delhi, Milan, Budapest, Barcelona. I was just chipping about, just doing this, going places and like doing creative workshops with people, and it was amazing. So I think it's really valuable. I think I don't know if you've seen the show Adolescence recently with Stephen Graham. I think one of the takeaways that I took away from that is like just the importance of having role models. Is instead of stuff just being online, is having people who are older than you. I used to think people who were older than me when I was a teenager were like mad cool, and I'd want them to see me in a certain way. There was a time when I was at a youth center, and there was 3 kids were in a room, and another kid came into the room, and they all went quiet, and then they left. And this kid was like very camp. I think he's gay. He was very camp, and the kids looked around at each other and then called him the F word, right? And I said, yo, lads, that's not cool, you know. That's really not cool at all. And they knew me as Caveman, this rapper who was older than them, and they was all like, oh, fair enough, sorry, innit? And and I've really often for years thought, like, you know, if we're not taking time with younger people to try and teach them some of the lessons we had to learn the hard way and by making mistakes, then like, what are we doing, right? Where's society gonna go? Aside from that, there's also like mad funding and money that you can go and get doing this shit, so it's cool. So yeah, I was in Colwyn Bay last week because a friend of mine called Kenny, he was living in Manchester. I met him as an MC doing music nights and stuff, and he's from Colwyn Bay in North Wales, and he left Manchester and went there and set up this organization called Underground Artist Movement, and basically the same stuff I was doing at Contact as a 15-year-old, he's now doing there. But instead of being in Manchester, this massive cosmopolitan city with 2/3 people in it, he's in a small town in North Wales with 15,000 people in it. So he called me and he was just asked me if I wanted to come down and come and work with them, and I was like, yeah, man, that sounds great. And again, like I say, I love to travel, go meet other people, and I think try and be some kind of positive role model, you know, for these kids who are coming up, and show them, you know, I'm not the most famous rapper in the world. I'm not I'm not 50 Cent, but I live off doing what I do, and I don't say stuff in my music that I don't believe in or that I don't like. I'm me, and I've got to travel and have amazing experiences and make great friends and make music that I believe in. And you can go and do this stuff too, and you can be bigger and better than me if you want, if you just go and do it. So yeah, hold tight Kenny, hold tight underground artist movement, and just hold tight the kids, man, because the older we get, man, like the more we're like, oh, the kids are different these days, but they're the same. They're just seeing different shit, but they're the same. And I think if we don't take time to look out for the kids, then we can't complain when the kids come and stab us, you know?
Well, I'll tell you what, let me ask you a question, but I'll sidle up to it by saying, when I first started work at 16, I'll never forget do you know what my training was for my first ever job? They sat me with the least interested person in the fucking call center. Of about 100 people, the least interested, the person who was least likely to ever recognize or acknowledge my presence for 2 weeks, who said nothing to me the whole time and just said, just shut up and listen. And then I went on the phones, right? And I'll never forget that, because I remember that at the time the thought was, well, sink or swim. You'll either make it or you won't, right? And I'll never forget that, because in my experience, it was like, right, that taught me an apathy that I hated. I didn't agree with it. I didn't resonate with it. And it's no surprise that I don't currently stay in that industry, because I fucking despise it. I now take that experience and it informs how I don't mentor people, but when I see younger guys come into business now, I try and give them lessons that they can actually take on, that they can impart on themselves. I don't force it on them. I just say, hey, listen, just think about this. And the reason I do that is because I just think, wouldn't it have been nice if someone had just taken that little bit of extra time with me to say, hey, listen, I know you don't get it, so let me try and explain it a different way. Let me see if I can put it to you in a way that actually gets it. I always think about that experience whenever I'm struggling with someone I'm trying to teach, because I just think, yeah, but it's worth the effort now to try and give them something that they can take away that maybe benefits them, and they can then pay it forward. I love that saying of pay it forward. Don't pay me back. Yeah. Pay it forward.
Yep, 100%.
Was there an experience then that informed you to that? Was there like a genesis of that, like a moment where you're like, do you know what? Whenever I'm thinking about doing something new or fresh, or I'm frustrated with it, I think back to this moment that it would have been nice if someone had taken that time with me. I'm not going to punish the world by denying it to the next person. I'm going to pay it forward.
So it's interesting because the organization I was just talking about, United Artists, Underground Artist Movement, when I first spoke to Kenny, I'd known him for a few years, but when I spoke to him on the phone, he was so excited about what he was doing. He was so like, I'm doing this, and we're doing that, and we're going to there, and we're doing that. And it's like, just that passion, like, you catch on to. And yeah, there was 100% when I was a teenager, there was people who made me feel inspired. Like a big one was Visceral, who I don't know if you would know, but he was a battle rapper. He did his thing on like the King of the Ronalds era, but he used to host open mics that I used to go to, and even when I wasn't very good, like, there was always a space for me to go and try things out and learn from them. And there's another rapper called Chunky from Manchester, a great rapper. He's like an international, multidisciplinary artist right now, doing this thing. And I remember just one time, like, we'd done a thing together, and he was like, yo, I believe in you, you know? And it was so gratifying to hear that, and I try and pass that stuff. I try and pay that forward now. There was multiple people who just took the time with me to give me the space and the grace to be good, but also not to be that good. And again, I feel like that's something that, like, Premier Battles are super on. You know, like, they could just, if they wanted, do 4 events a year and get the big names to do it, but like, they choose to go and do the academy and the undisclosed, and give someone, say, oh, I know you lost your last battle and it were so great, but like, give it another go. Just go again. Try it, man. Because I think giving people that space and that grace, and I think also, like, art is not always about being amazing at art. I think sometimes people make a song and the song's okay, but it meant so much to them, and that was the way that they dealt with the fact that their granddad died, whatever it is. Like, I just think it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, there was 100% people who were that for me, and I definitely try and be that for other people.
Two final questions, if I may. And the first one, it's a shame that I can't show you this, because I feel like it would make it easier to see where I'm coming from here. Does everything in the north have to be covered by curry sauce and or gravy? Great day in Liverpool yesterday. Special shouts to the crispy cod, finest chippy in the land. With what
Did you go crispy cod?
No,
crispy cod?
I'm taking
Liverpool?
your picture as reference.
Oh,
because
okay.
because again, dude, I'm sorry. I have to understand this. It would appear that there's someone has placed a bun on top of what can only be described as a being made of orangey, mushy sliminess. There's nothing appetizing in the image, but I have to understand what.
Mate, listen, yeah.
When?
Let me tell you now, the Crispy Cod is an amazing place. It is a chippy, traditional English chippy, run by a Greek husband and a Chinese wife, and together they have everything on the menu. It is so good. Yeah, man, you got to remember, but we live in the north, man. People are poor. It's cold. It's windy. Like, do you know what I mean, bro? It's rough up here. So if you got a good fat belly of food, like, you're laughing. And yeah, man, like, chips and gravy's never been my thing, but chip butty, what could you go wrong? And then curry sauce on top, bro. Like, you're laughing. You're laughing.
I find it
amazing.
Chips, potatoes inside of bread is the same premise to me as when I see people take 2 pieces of chicken and put it between bacon and call that a sandwich. No, that's 3 pieces of meat. That's not a sandwich. Just like that
Triple
can't
carbs,
be a sandwich because it's like having 3 pieces of bread.
Amazing. Bro, I swear down here, Crispy Cod is my favourite place in Liverpool. And when I battled Leicester last month or whatever, it was like 40 seconds walk from the venue, and I was like, yo, I'm glad to be in Liverpool, I'm glad to be playing my saxophone, I'm happy to see my battle rap friends, but bro, the fact I'm by the Crispy Cod and I'm gonna chow down on this butty, oh man, it was sensational. Yeah, man, come live in Manny for a few years, bro, and I'll show you the ways. It's great.
I lied. Apparently there's 3 questions, because the second to last question is a 3-0 battle, bodying someone completely, like in the sold out room, or a big plate of chips with curry sauce on them.
By far and away the chips, man. Like, I don't like winning battles. I hate winning battles. I like a debatable. Winning battles is horrible. I'll definitely take the chips and curry sauce. 10 times out of 10.
Get it? Don't get it. Honestly, I will try and learn your ways. I am trying to learn your ways, but
Are you coming on the 12th of April?
So here's the thing with that. I probably am, but
come. I'm gonna take you over the road, and I'm gonna buy you chips and curry sauce over the road, and then we're gonna have another pod, and you're gonna understand. I'm telling you, there's a banging place over the road. You make it up to money that weekend, chips and curry sauce is on me. And I know you like your gym and your healthy living, but you're having a weekend off, mate.
One day, people of the north, I will understand. Just like I don't understand why Manchester decided to up sticks and move 50 miles away from anywhere, anything, any remote civilization. It's just 50 miles of countryside. Just because I don't understand why it has to be 50 miles away from the nearest next town.
Nah, it's the Romans,
that, to my journey, dude.
It's the Romans, that, mate. You can't fault us for that.
But
that's the Romans.
You chose to stay there.
The Romans chose to stay there. Do you know where the word Manchester comes from?
No idea.
So Chester means fort. So the city of Chester is a fort to keep the Welsh out. Mam comes from mammary, like mammary glands, boobies. The hills around Manchester, the Romans 2,000 years ago they thought it looked like boobies, and so they called it Titty Fort, and that is what Manchester is. That's what I grew up in, bro. We just live with that to this day.
My Google search history is about to get very confusing after this podcast is recorded, because I'm going to Google it like, does Manchester mean Titty Fort? If I go on some kind of register, it's your fault. I'm pointing that out to the authorities. Mate. I'm just saying, I got enough of my rap sheet as it is. I'll talk about that story one day. You're all gonna love it when I signed an NDA. I really can't talk about it, but I'll tell you about it one day. Final question.
Yeah, you had one more, right?
Well, I have one more because I'm just genuinely curious. What have you got cooking up then? I know you bounce around, you're doing a lot, but like in particular in your mind, what do you want people to be like? Listen, I'm making stuff, I'm battling, I'm doing this, but do me a favor. Pay attention for when this comes out or when this is happening, because I am personally looking forward to it like mad. What's your baby right now?
So I got a couple. We are working on the next EP. Myself and Black Ice, we did Rough Junction EP last year. Just put out Due Diligence this year. Both of those projects were produced by one producer respectively, so we're going to continue to work with different producers. So I'm excited. I love the new one. We got some great beats, and I'm excited about that. I've never put out a solo album, and that will happen at some point. But I'll tell you this, bro. The day I battled Zen, I woke up in a tent in a festival in Cheshire. Because the year before I'd played this festival, it was like a family festival. I was not beatboxing, but playing beats on my drum machine and telling stories to kids, right? And my daughter was stood at the side of the stage, and she just couldn't understand, why can I not get on stage with my dad? I don't get it. And it sat with me for a while. So the next year they called us back, and we incorporated it. So my daughter came on stage with me and we performed together. I'm telling stories, she's acting out the stories, we're beatboxing. It was great. And that's what we were doing literally the day that I battled Zen. We did that, and then I went, battled Zen, got some beers, got on the train and came back. So we just locked in 2 days ago. The next festival, we're playing at Green Gathering Festival near Bristol this summer. And that's something I really want to expand upon, is like taking everything I've learned over my lifetime of being an MC and a creative person and teach that shit to my daughter. So yeah, it's called Hip Hop Storytime. The third one will be happening this summer at Green Gathering Festival, but I'd love to be able to get to a point where we can get funding for that and try tour that around theatres and stuff. I don't know. I'm just speaking, as you ask, I'm speaking that into reality. That's something that's really exciting for me, because like I say, I've done years and years of youth work. And as much as I'm paying back into my community and the general community of human beings, paying back to my own daughter is a totally different experience, and it's lovely. So that's what I'm really excited about. You're going to see that this summer. Well, you might not, but someone will.
I saw you tweet about it. Yeah, me and my daughter are playing a music festival together for a second year in a row. My best bud, my light, and my legacy. I'm going to teach her everything I know. And it's a really nice picture too. Like I said, I think you talked about music being beautiful to you, man. That's fucking cool. I choose my verbiage very carefully, but that's really fucking cool, dude. That's like to be able to find an outlet for you to be able to connect, resonate, teach, spend all that good stuff. I resonate because I try and do that too. I try and give my daughter as many outlets of me as possible to say, listen, you can be anything you want.
That's amazing.
Well, I look, dude. I know it's the cliche thing, but I want her to be the best of me and more. And part of that is by just saying, look, where did I not feel empowered? Where did I not feel guided? Where did I not feel all the rest of it? Right? No, everything of me. There it is. It's all yours.
That's the best we can do in it. That's literally the best we can do, is just teach what we've learned. We're not responsible for what we learn in life. We're not responsible for the good and bad places the world took us, but like we can do the best we can to push that forward to the next generation. So I salute you for that, for real, man. 100%.
I try. She She hates football though, so I've failed. Anyway,
well, I don't like football, and my daughter loves it. So maybe you try too hard, and my daughter's, I don't know it at all. She's just kicking ball around me and humiliating me.
I try and teach, like, I'm trying to teach her comedy at the moment. She doesn't quite get comedy in the sense of, we have an inside joke now where we're on the log flume at a local theme park.
Sick.
She didn't know what a log flume was though. So it's the we didn't tell her because me and my sister took her, and she sits on the thing and she goes, "Why is the seat wet?" And we just both looked at each other and laughed, and she goes, "What's so funny?" And we just like, "Oh, you'll find out."
You don't know what you're in for.
And then she looked at us both like, "You knew, didn't you?" And it's that moment where it's like, that's comedy, BB, because I can't tell you why it was funny. It just was.
Yeah.
She still doesn't get it. Doesn't get why it's funny. Doesn't get annoyed about it. Just like, I don't get it. But it's like, I can't. There's some things to your point about the football thing. I go off on the tangent. Some things you just kind of, you go, listen, that's just where we're deviate as people, and that's beautiful. I get to see you as your own person to a certain degree now. It's like it's a privilege to see this person that is becoming a person in real time that I get to guide, and I get to kind of help, not mold. I feel like I don't mold my children in the sense of, I just feel like I offer them things. Take it, do whatever you want with it. So
you show, don't tell, innit? You show, don't tell. Like, you'll never know what you've taught to your kids. That's one of the sad things about the beauty of it, is you'll never know, like, because they'll pick up on stuff that you did wrong or right, and they'll go and take it. And the same way you've just told me that memory, in 15 years she might be around friends and tell that same memory in a different way, and there's just no way you can know. And that's the beautiful thing about it, is just, you know, we just do the best we can, man. Just do the best we can as parents.
It's more like you should be telling a therapist, but you know, it's fine. It's, you know, again, me and my sister thought it was funny at the time, and you know, we definitely didn't beat it to death. That's all that matters, Your Honor. Final thing then, because we got to do it for the obligatory algorithm-y fucking whatever. You probably have social media, I know, because I follow you on it, and you probably have things that you want people to go, hey, clickety click, follow, send me money and presents. Where can people follow you and support you, my friend?
Yeah, man, send me presents anywhere. If you are in a local chippy and you want get me some chips and curry sauce and that, I'm happy. But it's Caveman Mate, so it's Caveman, spelled as you'd expect, letter M, number 8. Caveman, letter M, number 8. Caveman Mate. I'm on Spotify, I'm on Bandcamp. You can buy my music. You can see me on YouTube. You can find me on Premier Battles, No Loose Chat. You can find me on Lab 51, Pen Game, Spotify, I think I said already. I'm on Twitter, Instagram. There's a TikTok there, but I hate that shit. So yeah, I'm out here. Caveman Mate, you'll find me. I'm going to be battling Dazzy Talks next weekend, which is the Saturday, the 12th of April. I've got all my rounds written. They're great. I'm happy with it. So yeah, just come shout at me. And also, before we tune out, I just want to say, yo, Lorne, it's been lovely to chat to you, man. Thank you for bringing me on. It's nice to get to talk about what I do. Obviously, we've met before, but not in an extensive manner. So big respect to you, man, and thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone who's watched this shit so far. And yeah, live long and prosper.
Son of a bitch. You said that before I could hit the stop recording button, which I'm going to do now, you son of a...